Jordan Wicks trying to prove that he belongs in the Cubs starting rotation, maybe in that fifth spot. And another great outing yesterday. We're going to get into that. Shota Imanaga, going back to his debut, gave up a home run. And some people were saying, hey, is there something to be worried about? I'm going to tell you why there's not, at least not yet, after one start in spring training with the Japanese left-hander. We're going to get into that and more right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. And let's talk Cubs baseball as camp rolls forward. Make sure that you're part of what we're doing here. Give us a thumbs up. That's a great way of saying, go, Cubs, go. Fly the W. Let's go, baby. What do you say, everybody? Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel. I'm your friend. I'm your buddy. I'm Mick Gillispie at Broadcaster Mick on the socials. Thank you for hanging out with us here today. All right, let's get into the show here because there's some topics that I wanted to get into today. And first, I want to talk about Jordan Wicks' performance yesterday against the Padres. Now, if you weren't there, you didn't get to watch it. You didn't get to listen to it. And that's something that bothers me as a Cubs fan. I want to be able to watch or listen to spring training. And for those years where we were doing the Cubs webcast on Cubs.com, we never had this happen. So frustrating today, but with that, and the good thing is that a lot of these games are going to be on so we can watch and listen. Jordan Wicks took another step towards the fifth starter spot. 3 innings, 4 hits, a run, a walk, no strikeouts, but he's proving that he can get the best out. And the thing that really stuck out to me in his outing is that he faced the best players that the Padres had. This was their good lineup, you know. This is the Tatis Juniors and the Bogarts and those guys. So he got those guys out. He's proven time and time again that he's someone that the Cubs can rely on. There's a big group of pitchers that are hoping, I mean, maybe not that they want to see Wicks do poorly, but that they get that fifth starter spot, right? Guys like Smiley or like Assad or, you know, maybe Ben Brown or Cade Horton or, you know, whoever else, right, that you would slot in there. But Jordan Wicks just keeps on proving that he's someone that you can count on and that he needs to be taken seriously. Not just that he finished the season in the rotation out of necessity, but that he's a guy that's going to be there for a while and he's going to do a good job. So another outing where, you know, gave up some hits, didn't give up many runs, and took care of business. 3 1/3 innings. I think he's still in the driver's seat for the fifth starter spot on the Cubs. I mean, we still got a long way to go, but from where we are right now, yeah, he in my mind has that, I don't want to say it's locked down, but I think that he's definitely the guy that has it if spring training ended today. It doesn't. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't get into this after I saw Shota Imanaga pitch against the Dodgers. I watched the game and he gave up a home run. And then I started reading all of these like comments and worries, and people were like, well, you know, he gave up a home run and, you know, his fastball this and, you know, he should have done that. And I'm like, look, man, it's the first time the guy's ever pitched for the Cubs. Like, it's spring training. You can't really judge a lot of stuff off of spring training. He had some strikeouts. It didn't look like he was overpowered. He gave up a home run. Let's not base Imanaga's career off of a spring training game the first time he ever stepped out on the mound. And a lot of you guys are going, Mick, I'm totally with you on this. But I just kept reading all of this stuff, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do we really need to address this? But here on this channel, I wanted to. I liked Imanaga's ball. You know, I'm sure that he's still rusty. He's trying to get used to a different baseball than what they use in Japan, different players around them, different batters at the plate. I think that he's only going to improve. Even in the regular season, he's going to have growing pains. It's just the way that it goes. Everyone has growing pains when they come from Japan to the United States. So it's going to happen, but I'm not that concerned over anything that I saw on Saturday. I was actually pretty confident when he left. I thought, you know what, it looked good. I like the way that the ball moved. Yeah, I mean, you gonna, you gave up a 3-run homer and then came back and finished strong. Nothing concerned me about that outing. Another report that I wanted to talk about was JD Davis. People questioning if JD Davis would be a fit for the Cubs. Now, he put up good offensive numbers, came from the Mets to the Giants last year, and the Giants thought so much of him that they signed Matt Chapman to a 3-year contract. And the whole thought process is, well, the Cubs need a third baseman. And we've seen the Cubs go out and sign a couple of guys to minor league contracts who could potentially slide into a first base role, if they needed him to do that. Would JD Davis be similar to third if Christopher Morel isn't able to lock down that position? I don't know. I just don't. This just doesn't feel like something that the Cubs are going to do. I just have this gut feeling that they're going to really stick by Christopher Morel and see if he can do it. So far, he's looked the part. Still has a long way to go before you say, I feel very comfortable with him defensively at third base. And we've talked about it. It takes time. Your footwork is different at third to me than any other infield position because the ball gets on you so fast. Also, the ability to throw to first base, a lot of it depends on balance. It's not just arm strength. Some of it's leg strength. Some of it's positioning. So all of those things matter as Christopher Morel makes the transition. Could the Cubs sign JD Davis? Would he give him some extra power there? Yeah, I mean, he's put up some good numbers, but I think that this is one of those deals where people are going, okay, they didn't get Matt Chapman, which I think is by design. Could they go and get JD Davis? Because obviously now that you signed Matt Chapman, the Giants don't need him. He's a guy that can play corner infield, both spots, and I guess that would be beneficial to the Cubs too, right? I mean, he could play first, he could play third. I don't know. I just think that it's more of a, hey, you guys might need this, and here's the guy. I just don't have a feeling that that's a direction that the Cubs are going in. And the thing about Craig Counsell that he keeps kind of reiterating is allowing the young players to be young players, right? And having those guys basically get opportunities to get the job done. And you're starting to see the roster formulate right in front of us, right? Mike Tauchman's going to make the team. Now, we don't know the severity of Ian Happ's hamstring strain. Those are serious injuries just because you have to let them heal. And then when you start to come back from that, it takes a while because you don't want to rush someone back, right? So does that mean Peralta's the guy who maybe gets that spot? If Happ's healthy with Tauchman, then there's 4 outfielders. So do you go with 5 outfielders? Does that mean Pete Crow-Armstrong makes the team, or is he going to AAA? And then, people start doing the math. And I, from the beginning of this, really considered Pete Crow-Armstrong as a true contender to make the roster out of spring training. The bat so far, I mean, we're only, a week plus in, but, he's batting .222, does have some doubles. We're seeing a lot of them. He shows off his speed, lost a couple of balls in the sun. I don't know if that's going to hurt him or not, but at some point, I feel like for him to really solidify that spot on the roster, he needs to kind of look over at what Owen Casey's doing. The guy right now is like over 500 batting average. Really just kind of highlight what he does so well and do those things to show the Cubs, hey, you can be confident that I'm ready. Just because he's so young and he hasn't played a ton of games in the upper levels of the minor leagues, that he doesn't need more seasoning. But the path for him to get there now, with Mike Tauchman being guaranteed a spot on the team, has gotten, a little bit thinner. Now, the other part of this too is you got Michael Busch, who the Cubs have clearly said they want to be the first baseman, and then Cody Bellinger, who is going to play some first, but is also going to play some center field. And maybe Cody Bellinger plays a lot more center field than I initially thought, just, based on this whole scenario. Or maybe he plays more first base. I don't know. I just figured it was going to be, and you guys know this, I thought most center field, but not much different than last year where he played a lot of first base and then more DH than he did last year. So we'll find out. I mean, it's the only time's going to tell. We'll see how Craig Counsell manages games once the season starts. But as he kind of says, hey, here's who is on the team and gets asked questions in the press conferences and answers those and kind of tells us what he thinks. That's how we're going to kind of get an idea of what this roster is going to play out to look like. All right, well, that's it for the show today. Appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. I want to remind you that I am heading to spring training tomorrow, and I'll be out there, and we'll see what we can get into out there. But please like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and get in the comments section. Love hearing from all of you guys. Love talking baseball. And I want to remind you, too, that the Tennessee Smokies are giving out the championship rings on Saturday the 9th. In Mesa, the first one they've given away in 45 years. It's going to be incredible. Guys like Pete Crow-Armstrong and Owen Casey are going to get one of those rings. But you can pick up some of the swag at smokiesbaseball.com/store. If you're a big Cubs fan, you got Cubs gear there. You got Smokies gear. You got the card shop, which is called the Collector's Corner, with all the great cards from guys like Owen Casey and Pete Crow-Armstrong signed, some of them not. But you can pick them up there. Find out for yourself, smokiesbaseball.com/store. Thanks for hanging, guys. Go Cubs.